Welcome back to Comics with Drew. It's Drew, and God, it's what you've all been waiting for. Amazing Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man #2, and the f***ery continues unabated. Yeah, okay, so I've kind of grown, what's the word I'm looking for? I've grown complacent, expecting a certain level of quality from my comic books lately, and specifically my big two comics. Now, I know you're all out there saying, but Drew, of Comics with Drew, don't you know that DC and Marvel have been putting out shit forever? And the answer to that question is yes, I do. But even so, I still believe that when I put down my $4 for a comic book, it should at least attempt to entertain me on some level. And I suppose this might entertain me on a level of liking bad stuff, but it doesn't. So, reading your comments about why you didn't like this book and what you expect in a Spider-Man book, I understood where you guys were coming from. I really did. And, even though there are things that I haven't really, enunciated or thought about in my mind as to what I expect in a book that features Spider-Man, those are things that are there subconsciously, right? When you read a Spider-Man book, you expect to see certain things. You expect to see quipping and thwipping, right? You expect to see great action. You expect to see great humor. You expect to see Peter, doing his Peter Parker thing and still having faith to do the right thing as Spider-Man and having a lot of fun doing it, right? This book is not that. First of all, the plot of the book is really this. Spider-Man, or Peter Parker, babysits Norman Osborn's kids and then gets putting in his Spider-Man mask and then goes off and fights a bunch of low-level criminals where he breaks his word to them like a total asshole and then goes off half-cocked to fight Tombstone and gets knocked out. There's your book. Ta-da! That's it. There's nothing else in the book. And there's nothing having to do with Mary Jane. There's nothing that's even fun to look at. The art, again, is this new style of JRJR where it's cartoony and looks entirely unserious. I want to have cool art in a Spider-Man book, and this is not it. I don't know why this is even a new volume of Spider-Man. I honestly don't. I really have no idea because I don't know what they're trying to do, nor do I care. It's funny because they actually have a letters section in the back of this book, and they're all talking about the fact that, we can't wait to see what you guys think about these two books. I wonder what those letters look like right now. Now, I am sure that there are some clowns out there that think this is great stuff, but they are clowns. Right now, the trajectory that this is taking is Tom King Batman trajectory, right? I don't want to see Peter Parker moping around and being an ass to people. Even to criminals. You would expect that, if Peter makes a deal where he makes a deal here with White Rabbit and he says, look, if you give me the location of Tombstone, then everything's going to be fine. I'll let you guys go, blah, blah, blah. And then she gives him ostensibly the location of Tombstone, and then he lies and then webs him down and then calls the cops. That's not ethical, right? He's supposed to be a hero. Spider-Man is supposed to be a hero. Stop shitting all over the heroes, guys. If you're writing a Spider-Man book, if you're writing any kind of hero book, right? And I just saw the Batman Fortress worst page ever review by Thinking Critical. And, I didn't even know about that book. I might buy that book just to look at it and do a video about it as well. Because if what he says is true, that is horrifying. But the bottom line is they're deconstructing heroes. They're putting their own, it's a bunch of self-insertion craziness, right? They're putting their own, it's like, again, Tom Taylor going off on Superman with Jonathan Kent doing his I'm Tom Taylor as Superman kind of thing is not really what we're looking for in comics, right? As comic fans, generally speaking. I want to see a book about Spider-Man doing Spider-Man things. I don't want to hear about, Spider-Man's midlife crisis. He's Peter Parker. He doesn't have a midlife crisis. He's like, what, 20-something? Like 30, maybe? Tops, right? This is not, I mean, he still doesn't have his act together. In fact, he's regressed from what his previous situation was, and it's not fun, all right? It's just not fun. It's like that first book was a long, tedious slog, and then they kicked you in the balls at the end of the book. I'm going to have to wait. I don't know if I'm going to wait another month for issue number 3 on this, but again, we don't have any kind of idea of what's going on with Mary Jane, right? We don't have any idea what's going on with the stupid kid thing and all. All we have here is Peter Parker basically having a bad time, and then we're being made to read through it and pay Marvel $4 for it. So, off the top of my head is that John Romita's art is a little bit better in this book because we don't have as many corduroy lines like I was talking about previously. It looks like John has learned that shading is a thing, and colorists actually can do shading these days. So there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of that going on. But before I get to that, let's talk about how Peter Parker is now a bitch, right? All right, Peter Parker is, he's acting like an ass, and he's letting people walk all over him. And that's not what Peter Parker's character should be like, in my opinion, right? You may have a different opinion, but this is my channel, and this is my opinion. So there you go. Here we have Peter Parker, Mary Jane, she's upset, she's got her arms crossed, she's got her back turned to Peter. Peter's got this weepy bitch face, and he's like, oh, it's so sad, you know, and we don't know what's going on. So that's what this book leads off with, and we don't even have anything. This scene does not occur in this book at any point. This scene doesn't exist. I don't know why this is the cover of the book, right? I'm sorry, it's a hill I'm gonna die on with you guys, all right? Putting covers on books that don't belong on the books is false advertising. It's lying. Don't do it, all right? I don't care if you're an indie comic book person. I don't care if you're DC, Marvel, Image. I don't care. Stop putting covers on books that literally have absolutely nothing adjacent to what's going on in the particular book, all right? So there. That's the first thing. That's your first clue that Peter Parker is being a doormat in this book, right? The second thing, this is actually the second page of the book. We got Norm Osborn, right? And he's got a task for Peter Parker. But as he walks out the door, he pinches Peter on the face. What grown-ass man does this in the first place, right? First of all, I would not do this to somebody else. Second of all, if another grown-ass man did this to me, I would probably resort to fisticuffs. So this is not something that actual, men who have any kind of self-respect put up with, right? If someone walks up to you and pinches you on the cheek, it's about to go down. That's just the bottom line. And here we got Peter acting like he greets Norman by, he just opens the door and starts yelling, I'll pay you when whatever. By the way, hey, Peter, I have an idea for you paying your rent. Get a job and make some money. You can do that, Peter. So these are the first 2 panels of the book. And, again, Peter's not paying his bills. Dude, you can invent web shooters, find gainful employment. It cannot possibly be that hard. The only reason that Peter Parker can't pay his rent is because he's being a little bitch. That's why, all right? So, again, then we go to the end of the next page. We got Norm Osborn, and he's pinching Peter on the cheek. Like, I can't even, right? I can't even with this. Then as it turns out, on the next page, the special favor that Norman needs of Peter is to babysit his kids, right? Or his grandkids. Honestly, I don't care. Kids, grandkids, the whole thing, interchangeable because it's stupid. John Romita Jr. strikes back again with the stupid art, right? Look at this kid's neck. Look at the kid here, right? He looks like a Funko Pop doll. This is just terrible art. This kid's head is bigger than his grandfather's. This kid's head is bigger than a grown-ass man's head, right? Here's his head again, right? I don't know what's going on here. Why is this happening? And then another issue with John's art, again, this time is, here we go again with the eyes. We got the tiny little eyes, right? What in the hell is going on here? So you can go from panel to panel here. Here's the panel right above it where Tombstone's looking in the mirror and his eyes kind of look like normal. And then we go to the next panel and now his eyes look like, again, the eyes of Rancor. Rancor eyes again. And then my next issue with the art in this book, it's actually kind of fits the theme of the book. Here we have Spider-Man. He's crashing through a window and he has no balls. right? Spider-Man, the ballless wonder. So here we go. Here's the cover again. Peter Parker can't figure out how to deal with his woman. He can't figure out how to make her happy or anything like that. He can't please her. And maybe the reason why is because he has no balls. And, I don't even understand that he's not even proportionally. This whole art, all of this art is wrong here, right? And we got the return of the corduroys. Why? Why are we even doing this? And so it's like they're purposely trying to destroy the character. That's the best rationale I can think of about this, is that Zeb and John don't really seem to care about Spider-Man as far as, presenting him in a way that is like Spider-Man. They're doing something different, using a character that looks like Spider-Man and looks like Peter Parker. And again, I'm I'm reviewing it because I like Spider-Man, and I'm reviewing it for you out there who are going to watch this, so you can see that you're not alone out there if you're having the same concerns that I have. But I just, again, I don't understand. If this is the kind of art that we're going to do, why are we even doing a new volume, right? The first 2 books in this volume are filler issues. That's what they are. They're not top tier, top flight, AAA books. Furthermore, on this panel, you got White Rabbit, and she looks like someone's been clawing her face. Now, this is supposed to be webbing, but what this really looks like is someone has locked Wolverine in the toilet, and he's trying to get out, and he can't do it. And this is a painting of her face on the inside of the door of the toilet that Wolverine has gone to town on. That's what this art looks like. This is the last panel I'm going to talk about. This is actually probably the best art in the book, but the musculature is completely off and totally wrong and is not real. And furthermore, Spider-Man is actually not Peter Parker anymore. If you take his mask off, you're going to find out that this is actually E.T. and not Spider-Man, and he's actually phoning home. So, if you're going to draw Spider-Man, at least put his head on right so he doesn't look like he's walking around looking for some fucking Reese's Pieces, right? This art, even when John is doing his best work for this book, there's just things that are wrong with it, right? This is not real musculature. This is not what a human being's leg looks like. There's nothing wrong with the pose here. It's just the final execution of it. Again, I don't think that John Romita Jr. is a bad artist. Also, this is not personal. I am not personally, trying to attack John. I'm just simply saying that the art in this book is garbage, right? He can do better, and I expect him to do better, and I expect anybody working on this book to do better. So there you have it, The Amazing Spider-Man, number 2, hot trash all the way around, right? Again, it's not that I don't like Zeb. It's not that I don't like JR. It's just, I want a good Spider-Man book. That's really all that matters to me. I don't think that this is the best that this creative team can do. And if it is their best, we got some real problems, guys. Furthermore, again, the cover has nothing to do with the book. It's bullshit. This book is like a second kick to the groin, right? The first book ends with a kick to the groin, and then they give you this cover as another kick to the groin, and then they say, we don't care. We're not going to give you any kind of closure or any kind of explanation. We're going to give you a totally different story that has nothing to do with that, and it's going to suck. That's the situation that we have going on here with The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't know why we have a new volume of Spider-Man if this is what we're going to do. And if there's something else that they've got holding back what their actual story is, they better get to it in a hurry, because right now we're just being bored to tears and pissed off, and or one of the two or both, depending on your personal emotional state regarding this. So I'm so sorry. Thanks for watching Comics with Drew. I'm Drew, and I'll catch you next time.